As a filmmaker, as a director, and a key figure in the film's production, how did you manage to balance the complexity of the band's journey, kasi ang dami pasikot-sikot yung kwento nila, while maintaining objectivity? Kasi meron tayong, tendency to go for bias or sensationalism, but it being a documentary film, how did you as a filmmaker maintain that balance?
Kasi all this time, I think the things that we've heard about the band were mostly parang speculations. Nobody really knows what happened during the breakup or why it happened. So I think this is the guys reclaiming their narrative. And I had that sort of, I was lucky enough to have that chance to get to sit down with them, for them to reveal the story, to reveal their story. So for me, I think, as a filmmaker, as a documentary filmmaker, at least for this project, parang I wanted to honor that truth. And I think in honoring that truth and preserving it, that was my way of, being objective. Yeah.
Was there a time or a moment that you found yourself holding back?
Ooh. I mean, I guess parang there were some truths na parang, wow, I mean, I didn't know that. Wow, that's kind of difficult. How am I going to approach this, of course? But at the end of the day, what I can say is I really tried my best to really uphold their truth. So I think na, yeah, what the people can expect is that this is a no holds barred, like sort of like depiction of their story, and nothing is swept under the rug.
Oh, wow. Nothing is swept under the rug. That's going to be an amazing watch. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
For Mr. Rico Gonzalez from Warner Brothers, no, I have a question. Because when this was first announced, of course, we were all excited. I know it's getting released in cinemas nationwide, but why March 21 to 23 lang?
Okay, we've discussed it for quite a period of time, and we thought we want to make it special kasi this doesn't happen every day, and it's Eraserheads, and we thought that the experience, the audience of Eraserheads, they're used to watching them in concerts in arenas, in coliseums, like back-to-back, 3 days back-to-back shows. So we thought, bringing this documentary, we want to maintain that type of format also. But instead of coliseums and arenas, we want, and the whole nation to watch it, you want them to give the whole weekend of it. So it's like pattern to the release of the usual shows that they hold. Yeah.
So that's a good format to follow. Parang live din, pero manonood kami ng cinema.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Mr. Rico. My next question goes to Mr. Francis Lumen. How do you manage the logistics of getting everybody together? Considering everybody's busy with their music-related projects, other things happening. You have the reunion, which gave birth to a tour, and the tour is still ongoing. There's Australia soon. How did you manage the logistics to get everybody together to make this film?
Patience. You really have to be patient because before we can do a one step forward, we have to coordinate with 4 or 3 managers, and so, but we have to do that so that we will all be in one page, So, but since we were fortunate enough that we have been doing this together for many years, this new initiative, this documentary, the making of concerts, medyo meron na kaming template. We have already guys that know what to do, sila Ronald, sila Jad, and everybody else. So, may na sila. Once there's a project that's nabuo, everybody can move on and in an efficient way, But lots of coordination and lots of patience.
I love that. Lots of patience. Now, just a follow-up question. How did you balance this film's creative direction with the necessities of making a commercially viable film?
Again, you have to coordinate and communicate. Since Diane is doing the lead role for this, parang support lang kami, no? Because she has access to all the members, and one thing lang that we agreed that the pacing has to be nice, nothing boring, and then nothing sanitized. What you will really see is the e-heads with their ups and downs, and of course, we're all human beings, no? So even our weaknesses, our fault shows there, and then our desires to heal and reconcile is there too. So talaga, ang ganda nitong movie na to. I was so impressed, and I wanted to congratulate Diane for doing a great film.
Definitely can't wait to see this. Mr. Rico, you said you had.
Yeah, I'd just like to add something. I'd like to thank the cinema exhibition groups and the booking committee for accommodating the special release pattern that we're doing for this one. It has been done with foreign artists before, so this is the first time for EHEADS also, so we're doing this again. So thank you for the next cinema exhibitors.
And of course, also, I don't know if you know this is also going to be the first Filipino documentary film released in Dolby Atmos. Of course, it's about music. It's got to sound good. All right, so I'd like to ask Ely. I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, if you don't mind. I've known you for a while. I've been a long time fan, even longer than I've known you. You're always known to be sort of vague and elusive about sharing your personal take or personal details. But in this documentary, it feels that you're now willing to be either more revealing or more forthcoming. What has changed, and why now?
I don't know. Time has passed, and I believe in keeping something for yourself, and not parang spoon feeding your audience. So you can see that in the music. It's not very literal. So I guess the boys and I like mystery and keeping things vague, but there comes a time when that I think works against you. So nagkakaroon ng misconceptions and urban legends, if you know what I mean, and myths regarding the band, which doesn't necessarily is not necessarily good for the band or the music. And so this time we chose a different tact and decided na I think this is it's high time that, like what Direct Diane said, it's to reclaim our narrative.
That's awesome. So, just another question. Since you mentioned the boys, how was it reconciling and reuniting with Marcus, Buddy, and Raymond? Did you guys sit down, talk things out? Did you have a heart-to-heart, or did you say, "Bahala na si Batman, let's rock and roll"?
Well, this isn't our first reconciliation, so I guess we have gotten pretty good at it, and I see the parang efforts of everyone to move forward in a more optimistic and positive light. And it's a far cry from 30 years ago.
Speaking of the boys, they're not here today. Bakit sila absent?
Oh, yeah,
Parang
I didn't notice.
umulan and they stayed home. Puno na ba yung parking?
Yeah. We've decided na parang it's four talking heads is a bit much, and parang to stop the confusion, ako na muna ang mag-represent sa banda.
Alright, thank you Ely, thank you to the whole panel for your answers. Okay, let's open it up to our friends from the press. Question and answer, anybody have a question? Yes, okay.
Hi, sorry, I'm down here. My name is Joey Marzan. I'm from Daily Guardian. I come all the way from Iloilo. I just wanted to ask, Sir Eddie, kung nakita, we've seen sa trailer that Eraserhead still has a lot of fans right now, and it's still inspiring more generations, even those who were born even after the first separation of Eraserheads. How do you feel about your music transcending generations?
Um, I'm not surprised, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way, because we, from the very beginning, the band parang took pains to create something, first of all, relatable and timeless themes, and that's no accident because we wanted to transcend generations, and that's what the band is all about. Because we've been inspired by previous generation to make music, and this is sort of parang paying it forward and giving back, and to inspire musicians, and not just musicians, but uh, uh, people who aren't artists to go out there and be themselves, and be their own person is such a gift, and it's still why we do this thing.
Next question, please. Yes. Maybe you can step forward a little bit. Yeah.
Sorry. Hi, hello. My name is Jamie from Soundcheck Manila. What do you want? What do you want this documentary to leave behind for your fans, or what do you want your fans to know about this documentary when they leave the cinema? What do they want? What do you want your fans to know about the band? Thank you.
So perhaps Diane would like to answer the question. How do you want the fans to? How do you want the fans to feel when they leave the cinema after having watched your film?
Okay. Well, I'm not one to dictate how the audience should react to the film. I think maybe I could just share my personal experience and learnings from having done the documentary. And I think it really is about growth, and in the process of making it, I've learned a lot about myself in watching the guys allow themselves to be so raw and honest and vulnerable. Parang it gave me that courage to also allow myself to access those feelings that I did not allow myself to really face for a long time. And I hope, that they can, parang that they can have a similar takeaway from watching the film.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ako naman, as the promoter and producer, I have a selfish agenda. I'm hoping that the film would ignite more interest and the fans would say, sana magkaroon ulit sila ng concert. So, that's my, my mission that I want to happen.
Any other question?
Well, at the very least, I hope they think they got their money's worth.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Another question? From our friends best? Oh, don't be shy. Or are you all busog because you ate so much buffet? There we go.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Arian po from Sinigang.ph, Sinigang with an S po. This question po is for Sir Ely Buendia. And if I remember correctly po, you studied film po noon sa UP. And I'd like to ask po if there were any initial thoughts po of you co-directing the film as a filmmaker yourself.
Co-directing.
Co-directing or working on it as a filmmaker aside being a musician involved.
Sorry,
Co-directing the film.
this film?
Yes po.
No. I'm the subject, so I can't co-direct it.
Thank
May
you.
conflict yun.
That would have been kind of hard to be objective and you're in front of the camera, and also difficult How would you frame yourself when you sit down in a chair and interview yourself? That would be hard. But that would have been an interesting take on it, though, as a filmmaker yourself. Thank you so much for that question. Yes.
Hi, afternoon. Kevin from Manila Concert City. Sir Ali, what you learned about touring with the band again?
I've learned to be more professional and work with others. And I'm definitely talking about the band. From the 2022 reunion, I've made. I think I've decided. I will really try my best to parang get along with them and try to be more mature and talk things over and hear both sides of the story before I parang judge anything.
Sir, to Ms. Dian po, what are the challenges po the experience po in documenting and filming this documentary?
Okay, I'm gonna talk about the boring stuff, yung technicalities of it. I think it was very challenging kasi we were shooting the film in both the Philippines during their concert, tapos we were following them around during their US tour. So having to, to shoot in two different countries, tapos we did the sound design in Berlin and did the Dolby Atmos in LA, as it was the same sound stage where they did Taylor Swift era and Beyonce, and I think they did the soundtrack of Dune, because I really felt the guy's music, it's meant to be heard in its optimum state. So I think, and also combing through hundreds of hours of footages, and figuring out, kasi documentary filmmaking, it's a wild animal. Parang there's infinite possibilities of where you could go narrative-wise. So parang, and having such brilliant interviewees and subjects, every time they say something so interesting, I'm tempted to follow each and every story and information that they've shared, which means I needed to provide context for it. So it became too much. So like just figuring out which story is the most important that serves the overall story or narrative that I wanted to be out there. Parang, yeah.
I'd like to share something also. I think there's one common denominator here now. As the concert producer, I don't really look at the bottom line, how much money I could make. It's just what is the best production show we can show to the audience, right? Likewise, when Diane was doing this film, she has no budget. It was, she just had to do what she has to do, even if it costs her so much. And whether this movie will be a positive ending or not, it's not our issue. Our issue is to provide the best film we can be proud of to the world. That's why we're so proud of this work.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Roy from Concert Geeks PH. My question is for Sir Ely. For the past few years that you and the boys have gotten back together, it's not a secret that you all have different careers or different bands at this point in time. But given the experience that you have had making this documentary and also holding the concert in 2022, was there ever an inkling between the four of you to create new music, possibly release new albums, or even just a single from the Eraserheads again?
I think again it all boils down to timing. Of course, we're very active pa rin in terms of making music for our own projects, And the analogy here kasi is parang when you meet up with your parang ex, parang is it a good idea to to sleep with them again, di ba? Parang there's so much there's so much baggage there. It might be enjoyable, of course, while you're doing it, but you also have to think about the consequences, And I don't mean to parang be super serious about it, but there are a lot of considerations to be considered when you're actually making music again. I mean, okay lang naman kung we do the old songs for the fans because I mean that's what they're there for anyway. But it would be nice, of course, if the timing is right and we all feel na we can still do something that we're all proud of.
Thank you very much po.
Great question. Great question. Yes.
Hi guys. Yeah, as mentioned earlier, this isn't your first reunion. So what makes bakit yung timing perfect na ngayon na gawin tong documentary na to? And at the same time, did answering these questions help yung healing between the four? Not necessarily yung when they were asking the documentary, but hashing the answers out during the process of the working in this reunion show and tour.
As far as timing goes, I think we all felt that it was the right time because we can only converge and do something creative again, diba? Again because of such a huge undertaking to get the guys together, and there's so many moving parts. So to help again with the healing process and keep the ball rolling, so to speak. I think it was the right time for a film. Kasi we haven't done a film since Run Barbie Run, and that was a bit of a letdown in terms of our own personal experiences. At least with this documentary, parang there's a lot of positive things that could happen with this one.
Thank you. Yes, let's hear from our friends also from the back of the second row. Yes, sir. We'll get the mic to you. If our friends from the press back there would like to ease your way forward also so we can get your questions.
Hello, good afternoon. Raymond from Megabytes. I just want to know, after March 23, I think this is for Warner. After March 23, are there plans for the movie to be on other video platforms? And next is, how about in terms of, it's a movie, so are there like merchandise? Yun lang po.
Well, Warner Brothers deal with the production is for theatrical distribution only for now, but it depends on what Diane is planning for other platforms too.
Currently, there are no negotiations for any distributions with any platforms as of yet. So for now it's really exclusively only in cinemas.
Yeah, we really want the audience to experience this musical documentary, very special musical documentary. And it's for limited run, so we want to take note really of the dates, 21 to 23. Go to the cinemas nationwide, we're going to be showing it on those dates.
Yeah, I think some films are meant to be experienced in the cinema, and I think this is really just one of the films that you should you should be able to in the cinema.
All right, thank you. Yes?
Rick Olivares, ABS-CBN. This is for Ellie, and I guess even Diane can answer this. As someone who's seen you guys since the Club Red days, I've seen every iteration, every get-together gets bigger and bigger. Is the universe trying to tell you something, Ellie and Dan? And how do you top this? Because it gets bigger and bigger. You've done all these other things, you're leading the way. In fact, parang even back in the 90s, you reignited the band scene, and here we are again. All of a sudden, other bands are reuniting. Your thoughts?
Well, it's all cyclical, you know. Back then, everyone thought we've achieved the peak with Caterpillar selling 40,000 on the first day, and even the boys were like, oh, "You're right. I mean, how do you top this?" And it's just accepting the fact that you can't be on top all the time, and when you hit that peak, the best thing to do is just be more creative and more experimental, not necessarily top the numbers. You know, just enjoy yourself, and that's what we did. Following Caterpillar, we made we concocted a story around an album. It was a concept album. I mean, it wasn't met with much success, but at least we got to enjoy that, you know. And it's the same thing with the first reunion, the second. I don't even know how many reunions we had now, but this is the third reunion. Is in 2022, and we just wanted to have fun with it and do something that hadn't been done before by either us or other artists.
Yes.
Hi. So I was talking to Diane a few days ago. Jello. Yeah, and she said you've seen the film, and tears might have been shed after you watched the film. But can you just share what your reaction was after watching it?
I don't want to admit that I cried, but there were, you know, rumblings of crying because, syempre, I only know what I said. We weren't interviewed together. As a matter of fact, I just realized that was the first time I heard these thoughts from the other guys, and the way Diane parang weaved all the elements together really moved me, because it's one thing to present facts, one thing to present opinions, but I guess the challenge of a documentary is having a through line, is what they call it, and that's hard. And I guess it was me appreciating the fact that there was an art to the whole thing, and it's not just talking heads. And it took me on a journey, and even for someone who was actually in that situation, it was still a surprise for me. So I guess yeah, I really loved the movie, and the honesty of the other guys, and the way it's unflinchingly offered up the truth, because that's one thing I hold dear, is whether in my music or my personal life, is to be, you know, authentic, and this is as authentic as the Eraserheads can get.
Thank you.
Can I add to that? I'm gonna harken back to one of the questions of Chris, yung parang, I think, when you were asking about how the dynamic changed through the reunion. So I'm going to basically share my experience naman in shooting the documentary. And as Ellie said, we were doing we were shooting them independently. We were doing the interviews independently. And what I witnessed, I can only speak for myself as well, parang was that every time they would unload, or they would, you know, speak their truth, even if it was done independently, the next day or the next time that they would meet each other, it was as if something was lifted, even if they did not talk to each other. Parang just the fact of expressing themselves and allowing that honesty to happen was in and of itself healing and cathartic. So, I guess yun yung takeaway ko na, wow, what truth. I mean, sorry for being cheesy, but like the truth can set you free. Parang that rang true, that resonated with this film.
Ako naman, I also saw the movie, what surprised me because, your expectation, Ellie being the lead, the songwriter, siya magiging parang bida dyan sa documentary. Pero to Diane's, credit, silang apat were equally interviewed, exposed, and discussed. So, silang apat ang bida eh. Walang isa na upstaging anybody. And I think that's for a filmmaker, that's quite a challenge to do that, And I was clueless on how she was doing it, but when I saw the finished product, I told Diane, ganda ng ginawa mo. So, again, kudos to her,
I'd also like to add on that kasi last year pa we were talking about it when I'm very honored. I'd like to say that I'm very honored that you chose Warner Brothers to be the distributor of the movie. When Diane first showed us the non-final version, we knew there's already something na nakita kami sa pelikula. And I'm very proud of this film, and I hope not just the Eraserhead fans will watch this one. I hope you tell everybody that this is worth watching. This is something special for the Filipino audience and for the world to see. Very iconic Eraserheads. Let's not. We'll have to make sure that we don't miss this one in cinemas.